Example 2. Now we have a percent decrease. Now, if you read the problem, it talks about Ken trying to go on a little bit of a diet here. He's going to try to reduce his calorie intake by 7%. Right? The trainer doesn't want him to do any more than that because if you cut off too much food too quickly, your body's not going to be able to adjust. So the question is, if Ken consumes 2,200 calories per day, is that a 7% decrease from 2,500? Okay, so one more time here, we have our part is equal to percent times the whole. And since this is a change problem, the first thing you have to figure out is what's the whole actually going to be. Okay, so that's the very first part of the problem, right? Before he made any changes, what was the original amount of calories? Well, 2,200 looks like it would be it because that's how much he's eating now. But before he made the change, he was up to 2,500. Okay, so whenever I'm going to do the whole amount, that's going to be 2,500 because that's the original amount of calories that he consumed. What we also know is that he's trying to figure out 7%. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and fill that one in as a while as well. 7%, that would be 0.07 because move the decimal 2 places. So 0.7 times my 2,500, that would tell me how much of a reduction in calories he would actually be looking for, right? So what I'm actually trying to figure out here, they give me a lot of information, but it looks like I'm trying to figure out the part. Okay, so if I get my trusty calculator out, the part would have to be 175 calories. All right, so now Ken has already gone on his diet, correct? The question is, did Ken reduce his calorie intake by no more than 7%? So the maximum amount, if he could take away 7%, that'd be a maximum amount of 175 calories. Well, if he started out at 2,500 and now he's doing 2,200, well, that's already a change of 300 calories. So he's already cut out way more than his trainer would have recommended. So no, Ken has not reduced his calorie intake by less than 7%. Now, exercise 2, I was playing around with having you do this one on your own, but I think I will just briefly talk about it here. Skylar is answering the following math problem. The value of an investment decreased by 10%, and the original amount was $75. What's the current value? Okay, so they already give you the original 75. That's the nice part. So Skylar said that 10% of $75 was $7.50. Yes, I believe that. So then you have to subtract that away because it's a decrease. If it's decreasing by 10%, now we need to take away the $7.50. But then the question asks us here, create one algebraic equation that can be used to arrive at the final answer of 6750. Right? Because here's the problem. If I would write the problem out using part equals percent times the whole, and I know that the percent is 10 and the whole is 75. That equation is not going to give me my 6750. Is there a way I could turn this equation around so that 6750 would be my part? Let's think about it. If it's a discount of 10%, how much are you really paying? Right? If we really have a discount problem, another way to think about that is to say, how much am I actually paying? If I want to figure out the part, what I really want to know is if I take away the 10%, that means I've got to pay 90%. Well, so as a decimal, that'd be 0.90. What is 90% of the whole thing? If I figure out what 90% of the whole thing is, that's going to give me my answer in one step. So it's just another way to look at the discount problems. There's always more than one way to look at these types. All right, almost done, folks. Example 4, talk about population for the cats. In a rural neighborhood, they have declined in the past year by about 30%. All right, so it's gone down. There's less cats than before. The residents hypothesize that they think that it's due to the wild coyotes preying on the cats. The current cat population is estimated to be 12. Approximately how many cats were there originally? Okay, so they give me a percent and they give me a 12. They want me to figure out how many cats there were originally. So if they're trying to figure out the original number, that means they want to know How many were there in total? What's the whole amount? All right, so using your percent equation, what would the whole amount be if there are 12 cats now? All right, so I'll give you some time to work on that. I'm going to go introduce example number 5 as well. Then you're going to have time to do both, and your exit ticket, once again, will ask you for those answers. Example 5. Lou's math score on her achievement test in 7th grade was a 650. Her math teacher told her that her test level went up by 25% from her 6th grade test score level. What was Lou's test score level in 6th grade? Okay, so again, we have two scores. We have a change. So the problem is, what is the original score? What's the whole amount? Well, it says 25% is the change, right? That's the change from what? It's the change from her 6th grade test score. So the original amount, once again, is going to be the 6th grade test. What was the original score? Okay, I'll let you know now. You have example 4 and example 5 to finish up, and then you'll have an exit ticket to collect your answers from the day.